Fight'N Rage is an old-school 16-bit arcade-style beat-em-up that meshes together elements of popular titles in the genre, as the title insinuates. Taking inspirations from Streets of Rage and Final Fight, this brawler looks to bring back that feel while introducing their own world and combat mechanics. So, is Fight'N Rage a bloody good time, or is it a bloody mess best left in the past? Let's find out. The story of Fight'N Rage is a bit bare, with not even an intro to the basic story premise really. However, as you play through the game, it starts to become clear that you play as the human race, mostly considering one character is a raging bull, trying to defeat all the mutants that stand in your way. You eventually learn that humans and mutants alike are both just trying to survive, but fear of society seems to have both sides in a panic of trying to be more dominant over the other. Interestingly, there are a ridiculous number of endings to achieve, so expect to invest a surprising amount of time getting all of them. Now, this is a 16-bit style brawler, so how is the combat? Well, pretty awesome honestly. It's very simple to pick up and play, and feels immensely gratifying when linking combos together. There's a brief tutorial on combat mechanics when starting, but there are more advanced moves you can discover on your own. You have one main dedicated attack button, but mix up the moves a bit with throws in specific directions as well as aerial attacks. There's also an SP gauge that fills up every few seconds to pull off a special, and depending on the direction you push on the analog stick or D-pad defines the special move you pull off. What's interesting is that there is also a parry mechanic, and when things get really intense, it feels so rewarding to pull it off. Combat in general just feels really tight and impactful. You could feel each hit impacting the enemies, and the screen effects further capture that immersion. You can also pick up knives, pipes, and throwing stars to utilize in combat. Additionally, what's a beat 'em up without co-op? Fight'N Rage has up to 3-player local co-op, with both the option to have friendly damage on or off. Co-op is a blast, and double teaming enemies just feels kick-ass. When a player loses all their lives in co-op, they have to wait for their health bar to refill over time. My only gripe with this was that after all that, you only get about 15% of your health back, and by the last 3 stages, that's basically a single hit. There were even a few instances of getting hit the second one of us just got revived, to only then try to revive again. It's not an awful element, but just a minor thing we wanted to point out. The other gripe that we had was that when things got really chaotic towards the last couple of levels with so many enemies on screen, it became a little bit of a challenge to keep track of where our characters were in the midst of all that combat. Maybe having a player 1, player 2, even player 3 indicator flash above the character would kind of help separate that confusion. Luckily, it appears you do have unlimited continues, so even if you do lose all your lives, you could just restart at the latest section you left off at. As you progress through the game, you will earn gold coins for every set amount of points. These coins can be used to unlock the vast amount of unlockable content. There are several unlockable modes, new characters to play as, a ton of costumes, and many more. Honestly, between the amount of endings and content to unlock, this is one content-packed game, especially for a game of its type. The game does take about an hour or so to beat, but expect to spend more than 15 plus hours to get a majority of the content. Visually, Fight'N Rage is an excellent looking retro game. The pixel art and animations ooze the 16-bit generation, and all the vibrant and flashy visual effects scream arcade style. Stages have great use of scrolling effects. There's even a stage on a raft with scaling effects to give you the illusion of the raft moving further out into the screen, as well as neat lighting effects. It all runs at 60 frames per second too for the most part. There were a few instances of the frame rate dropping a bit, mostly during the hectic final stages when there's a ridiculous amount of enemies on screen, but realistically though, it didn't hamper the gameplay and got back to the smooth 60 FPS relatively quick. There's even a filter to mimic the arcade CRT display, and that's defaulted, but I felt the edges were a bit too curved in, so I stuck with removing that filter. The audio does a great job capturing the arcade feel as well. Powerful sound effects combined with a rockin' soundtrack really keep you engaged. Fight'N Rage is an excellent brawler that serves as a perfect homage to games like Streets of Rage and Final Fight. The excellent combat, awesome pixel art visual presentation, rockin' soundtrack, and extensive unlockables will definitely keep you coming back for more. That's why I'm giving Fight'N Rage a 9.0 out of 10.